Hi everyone at Highworth. Nice to be able to speak with you and just talk about something that the leadership team in discussion with me and others have been looking at. I think it's really good from time to time for a church to say, how can we most effectively serve the purposes of God in our generation? For you, how can you serve the purposes of God in Highworth? How can you be most effective at bringing something of his kingdom here on earth as it is in heaven? And so what we want to do is to introduce what is called a 360 review. If you're not familiar with that term, a 360 review is when you look at things from all sides, all angles. And so again, in conjunction with the leadership team, we've drawn up some questions. What do you feel is good about HCC? What are the strengths? Do you feel that you've got a voice? Questions like that, with a view not to be just introspective, but to ask ourselves, how can we move forward most effectively and most efficiently? And what you do with a 360 review is you get various people to look at it from their perspective. And so some people will be invited to answer questions. There'll be some older people who've been around for donkey's years. There'll be some young people. There'll be some newcomers. There'll be people who have served the church. There'll be a whole variety of people. But one thing that is important too is that if you're not in that group and you feel you'd like to have a voice or like to answer the questions and respond, then there's opportunity to do that. And you could ask any of the leadership team and they could give you the questions. The actual process is the questions have been drawn up. They will be available at the start of May. And then that gives people time in May to pray about, respond, and to answer. And then at the end of May, I'm very happy to collate all that's been given in and get a sense of what is God saying, and then bring people like Andrew and Ruth in to say, okay, this is where people feel we're at. What is God saying to the church at Highworth now? What we want is, as I said, to fulfill the purposes of God in our generation. It was said of David, he did that. How can we serve the purposes of God in Highworth, Swindon, Wiltshire, the UK, the world? How can we be more effective at fulfilling what God has called us to do and to be? So that's the purpose of the review. As I said, some people will be invited to answer the questions, but there is the opportunity for people who'd love to have a voice to say, yeah, I'd like to answer it as well. The purpose? To increase the sense of community, to increase the vision and the effect that you can have as you pray, Lord, may your kingdom come in Highworth as it is in heaven. I hope that makes sense, and I think it could be a very exciting way to move forward, especially as you face changes over the next month. Thanks very much. Thank you.